comments, do not hesitate to interact and engage. Today, we're going to talk about the smear campaign, the narcissist and the smear campaign. So, how many of you guys who are listening in have ever fallen victim to a smear campaign? And what that is when you become ostracized, when there are terrible things being spread about you, and all because you might have upset the person you were with, or maybe you decided you want to leave, or you want to end the relationship, or you're not doing something they want you to do. And as a result, they begin to kind of drag your name through the mud. Many of us have experienced this. And the main question that I have asked when I experienced this, and what I have heard other people ask, is why? What did I do to deserve this? Why would this person lie about me? Because more than likely, what they are sharing about you is not even truthful. And that's what makes it hurt even more, because it's not coming from an enemy. It's not coming from a stranger. It's coming from a loved one. It's coming from someone who you love and you know. So why would someone who says that they love you turn around and say such ugly things behind your back to get others to hate you, to get others to see you through the lens of this false reality that they created? The answer is very simple. It's all about power and control. When you're dealing with a person who has narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorders, sociopath, abusive, whatever you want to call it, when you're dealing with someone with this disorder, oftentimes they're very charming, very manipulative. They can work the room, and they love attention often, but they don't like negative attention, right? So they want to be seen. Some arguments might even have started if they feel like you're not giving them enough attention, or you're working too much, you're spending too much time with the kids, you're going out with friends too much. They feel like you're not paying them attention, right? So it's not that they don't like the attention. They do not want negative attention. So if you are tired of being mistreated and you're tired of being abused, and you say, enough is enough, I'm out, I'm leaving, they need to control that narrative. They have to control that narrative, because the fear is, what if you leave and begin to tell people all of the negative things that I've done to you, all the terrible things I've said to you, how I've treated you. Maybe I've stolen money, or I've cheated on you, or if I'm a family member, I took advantage of your kindness, whatever it is. The fear is that I need to jump in front of the narrative. So I have to hurry up. And oftentimes there's an impulse control issue. So they don't really, while they know what they're doing and they're very aware of what they're doing, oftentimes they don't think before they act. They don't think before they speak, but they still do not have remorse. So it's a very interesting dynamic with them. So they're going to rush ahead, and they're going to figure out a way to manipulate the situation and to get people to view you in a negative way. And they're very, very good at it. So I would like to encourage you not to say, why would people believe this? Because they can be very convincing. They can be very convincing. And it's oftentimes it'll come off as, I just need some advice, Paula just doesn't take care of the kid. She's always nagging me. She's this and that, right? And they're painting you out in a bad way, but they're doing it in the whole woe is me attitude. So people will be like, try to take them in. And especially if they were a person who didn't ever want to share their personal business. If you were in a relationship, or maybe you had a family member who felt like family business should stay in the family. And when they finally feel that they want to speak up and it's about you, people will sometimes listen, because they're like, wow, you usually don't talk about your business. Like, you seem really upset. And sometimes they'll cry, they'll have waterworks. I mean, it can be a show. And people will begin to believe them. What I want to say is, if that happens to you and people begin to believe negative things about you, even though they know you, and they begin to cut you off, consider it a service to you. Because anyone who truly knows you, who truly knows your character, would say, hey, Paula, your boyfriend has said some really nasty things about you, and it really didn't match the person who I know you to be. Um, is any of this true? What's the deal? What's going on? A true friend, a true family member will come to you and say, "What's up? What's happening? Why is this person spreading lies about you?" A person who might have had ill intentions from the beginning or were very, very easily manipulated, they'll completely turn away from you and never look back and feel no type of way about it. And that is what that abusive person wants. They want to take your support system. That's why they smear your name. If I can get people to not like you, to believe what I'm saying, then you don't have anyone to talk to. You won't have any friends. Your family doesn't believe you. My family doesn't like you. Your friends are tired of hearing you talk about it. So who are you going to talk to? They want to rip the carpet up under you. They want to see you fall. And it's all about power and control, because once you fall and once you start to hit rock bottom and feel like no one believes me, no one will talk to me, right? You're falling into that gaslighting, that manipulation that you've experienced the whole relationship anyway. And now when you want to talk to someone about what you're dealing with, they've already heard negative things about you and they're kind of hesitant to even talk to you. Right? Is this resonating with anyone? So then you start to feel like, who can I talk to? And the hope is, and this is my opinion, something I've seen quite often. The hope is that you will eventually crawl back to the narcissist. You'll crawl back to your abuser because you have no one else. And remember, during the pillow talk hours or when you guys were in a great place, they made you feel like you could always trust them. They had your back. No one would love you the way they would, right? And then you're finding that no one wants to talk to you. People are believing that. You don't know who to trust. Maybe you're sharing things with people and it's getting back to that abusive person. So you really don't know who to trust. And oftentimes, people will seek refuge in the same person who was causing the disaster. You then begin to look to your abuser as your healer. And that's a trauma bond. And that's very dangerous. And it's something that many of us do. And that's why when a lot of people say, after you went through all of that, you're still going back, you're bonded. And it's a very manipulative way. So that smear campaign, you would think it's to keep you away from them. They may even tell you, I never want to speak to you again. Don't ever call me. I'm blocking your number. And they may actually block you. They may stonewall you. They'll go no contact with you. They'll ice you out. That can happen. But it's very, very often that they'll start to come back around when they feel that you have no one else, you have nowhere else to go, and you're desperate for any type of attention, and you'll fall right back into that trap. The thing with the smear campaign is it's another tactic, it's another tool to have control over you, especially if you are being bad mouthed and talked about after you've gone no contact with this abusive person. Sometimes they'll do the smear campaign to get your attention. It's happened to me before. Oh, you're not going to talk to me? I'm going to make you talk to me. Because it's human instinct when you're hearing negative things about yourself that's not true to want to defend yourself. You're going to want to speak up and say, that's not how that happened. You abused me. You did this to me. You mistreated me and I left you. We want to defend. It's very natural. But the biggest thing you have to learn to do, and it's very difficult, is to disengage. I don't care how badly it hurts you. You don't show them that. That is key because they're doing it to get under your skin. They're doing it to get at you. So if you can remove yourself and say, yes, this hurts. Yes, this bothers me, but I'm not even going to reach out to them. They'll find a different way to reach out to you. Sometimes it's through flying monkeys. They'll have other people contacting you, reaching out to you. Sometimes they'll begin to try to love bomb you again. If you've blocked them, you might start getting calls from unknown numbers, emails from random accounts. I had a YouTube account. I would get comments under my videos. They'll figure out a way to try to get your attention if that didn't work. The biggest thing, and I know this sounds crazy to even say to you, but try not to take it personally. I know you're asking, how do I not take something personally when it's about me? This is about my person. Because you're dealing with someone with an illness and nothing that they've done in the relationship has been consistent. The way they've treated you has not been called for. It's been inappropriate, ridiculous, hurtful, painful, you name it. Because the issue is not you, the issue is really them. But they are punishing you for their lack of control, for their lack of being able to bounce back in the way you are, for their lack to be able to seek help and actually get help in the way that you can do that. There's resentment. So you have to take yourself a step back and say, you know what, this is not even about me. This is not true. And if anyone believes this person without listening to my side, good riddance. You have to be willing to remove yourself from some people. I often hear that people, they want to clear their name so badly, they begin to beg people to believe them, beg people to answer their phone calls, just listen to them, right? And then the whole time they're turning around behind your back and talking about you and laughing with the abuser, about you, and it's stroking their ego. I understand. I was there. It's a very painful thing. But the best thing that I could have done at a certain point was disengage. I even had people who would run to me. These are flying monkeys. Flying monkeys aren't always people who are being mean to you. Sometimes they can be someone who's bringing you information that's really nasty and negative that doesn't serve you. You don't need to hear it. Like I always tell people, what you feel about me is not my business. And some people will enjoy running back and forth and taking seeds and planting seeds and causing confusion. Some people really enjoy that. And they'll get people who never paid attention to your relationship before are suddenly vested in your relationship because they are getting something out of it. And you have to be mindful of the people who are taking in this information from the smear campaign and relaying that to you and constantly wanting to hear your side of it because you're going to be angry. And then they take that information and take it back to that abusive person. So it's so important that when this is happening to you, you're able to step back and say, I know what's happening. I know what's happening. You're trying to make me look bad to gain control. And I'm not going to feed into it. It's difficult. There are times when you can cry on your own. If you have great friends, you can talk to them about it. If you have therapist, coach, whatever, talk to them about it. But do not let them see you begging and crying and pleading for them to stop because they feed off of it. It doesn't change their behavior. They don't care. And that's a very painful realization. So when I ask, what is the deal with the narcissist campaign? If there's nothing else you take away from that, the deal is to control you, to control the narrative, to get a rise out of you. Remember, they feed, right? They feed off of attention, be it good or bad. They need supply. And if you cut that supply off, they're not going to get that. You don't feed into that campaign. You don't feed into that because you know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, there's some work you need to do to figure out who you are. But you do know what's being told to you are lies. What's being told about you are lies. And that's why it's so key to begin, if nothing else, to build your confidence because the attacks will continue to come, right? The attacks will continue to come. I have a question. Do they truly enjoy the pain they cause? Yeah. Yeah. I've even heard stories. I've seen it myself. I've experienced it myself where people will say after the abusive person did something to them, they might laugh about it, joke about it, point finger. Maybe you'll be having a regular conversation, let's say in a romantic relationship, and the person you're with knows that you're not really comfortable hearing about their past sexual encounters, their past relationships, it just is not relevant to you. They'll keep sharing information about their sexual past, and some people will get even more detailed until you react and then call you jealous, call you insecure. So they're always looking for a reason to get a reaction out of you. I've even heard people say it's like when I have a good day, they focus on trying to bring me down. Um, Many clients I've worked with, and myself included, I've had funerals ruined, I've had birthdays ruined, I've had holidays ruined, family vacations ruined. They have to be the center of attention. They have to be the light. And sometimes when they see you happy, they don't like it. Oftentimes they don't like it. Now it attracts them to you initially, but the same thing that attracts you or that attracts them is the same thing they later begin to resent. Which is why we have such a hard time understanding how someone who loved you and who you loved can mistreat you. Our brains cannot wrap itself around that concept because it's not normal, it's not healthy, and it's not something that any of us would do. So keeping that in mind, the biggest thing along this journey, as I wrap this up, the biggest thing to keep in mind along this journey is that you need support. You always need support. If that's friends, if that's family, if that's a therapist, a coach, make sure you have people around you who support you, who will be there for you. That's key because it takes a village to save someone who's experienced this. It's not something you can go through by your own, which is why I created this community in hopes of bringing people together. So if you're new to this, make sure you subscribe. If you're watching this, you're already in the meetup group. So if you can attend some of the events, please make sure you can, where you can get support from other members who've experienced the same thing. Like I said, we're going to have more support groups coming up that are being led by individuals who've taken my Healing Loudly course and have done a lot of work to heal. And now they're turning around to help lead these support groups. So please take part in that. I have individuals who I've been coaching this month. And all that information is in the description. Whatever you can do for your personal growth and development, make sure you do that because it takes a village. Just like it took a village to bring you down, it's going to take a village to bring you back up. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's conversation. This video will be recorded and uploaded. So please watch it as often as you need to. Feel free to share it with anyone who you feel can benefit from this. And everyone have a good rest of your day.